I guess it's more like getting back to more like the essence of what I was doing a few years ago. Just I've been working with a lot of band projects the last few years. So studio projects has like been very photographic in kind of the recording process. So it's been like a band and it's been in the studio. And this is getting back to more like a personal producer project. So something I do on my own, and it's driven mainly by me, really. Just being behind it, and then. With these other projects, it's been more community-based, I guess, a bit more communal in the recording process. So yeah, it feels very personal.
Money on land and money.
Yeah, I think like for instance, the Combo Barbaro records and Flying Inferno, they were very much wholly about being in one place and like celebrating one place. So when I was in Cali, Colombia, I was recording there, and it was about working with musicians who are local. And I had guests from outside, but it was mainly trying to work with the Colombian sound. And on this record, I spent a lot of time doing that, and I felt that it would be good to branch out a little bit, because I really like music, Brazilian music, for example, or hip hop, or there's also parts of my early sound that I wanted to revisit, like this kind of more folky sound with Alice Russell. So yeah, it was a little bit of everything, kind of just getting back and just a change. I really like to change it up, and with the producer thing and working with the laptop, in some ways you can be more varied and it can be a little bit more dangerous, because you can experiment more as well, which makes it more exciting and keeps it interesting. Yeah. For sure. I mean, a lot of the music is made. It comes from subconscious, so you get home, maybe it'll be 2 a.m, and you'll be writing something on the computer, and it's not so, some things are like thought about a lot, and I spend a lot of time kind of working how to do it, but a lot of time it's just ideas that come out and really kind of like have a preconception of what you're going to do beforehand. So yeah, definitely like your environment is key, I think, for a musician, and I feel that music is made by the environment you're in. It's like a massive influence. Well, for me right now, it's just about getting settled. I've been there since the start of the year, and I'm just kind of getting an understanding of it. It is an amazing city, just like any major city, because it really has this amazing amount of different people from all over the world. But especially for Latin America, it's an amazing city. And New York, for me, in the 60s and 70s, well, from the 50s really, has been like a center for Latin recording. It was a place where all these great band leaders like Richie Ray and Kent Gomez and like Machito and Tito Puente and all these people kind of got their thing going in New York, and so to be there is kind of like quite incredible. I think Latin music in general is popular Latin music has changed for the worse, and moved more away from like the live sound and kind of into other things. So it's hard to find. I think even people would be surprised. It's like you go to maybe Nashville, Tennessee, and you can find, still go and find a great country and western band, or if you go to Jamaica, you could probably find a good rock steady band. But in New York, I think you would struggle to find like an authentic, like little salsa orchestra, stuff like that. But it does go on, and for me, it's interesting. Like I'm really into Haitian music too, and music from Guadalupe and from Colombia and Venezuela.
We were painting silhouettes, shadows.
Yeah, so my father was really into, he grew up playing folk music from Wales and from England, and then he got very much into bluegrass and like American folklore, and that's probably why I got kind of interested in American music in the first place. But yeah, he was a banjo player, and on that song I played his banjo and his guitar, and yeah, it was some instruments that I inherited when he passed away that I kind of used on that track. So yeah, it was very much influenced by him and also my mother. It just felt like when I picked up the instruments, that was what happened. It didn't feel like striving to do that. So it felt almost like the most natural thing on the record, really, for me. So.
We were painting silhouettes, shadows.
Well, I've sung like on some things before, sung like backing vocals, and always on stage I sing backing vocals, and on other records with Alice I've always helped with the the chorus sections and things. So it didn't feel strange, but I'm not hearing, often these records you finish them and then you go, okay, it's done, I'm gonna go and do something else now. So you don't listen, it's not like I'm listening to my own record, so it doesn't feel strange, but maybe when I hear it. Well, I haven't, but I should. That's a good idea. I should probably, that's exactly what I did.
But you choose this name for Parfait?
Yeah, so the name came about, well, I first liked the concept of magnetic as a concept. More and more I've been getting into the mechanics and technology of sound, and I've been really interested in recording, and I've been interested in particularly in cutting records and learning how to cut records and how things work. And a lot of the theory behind a lot of this sound that we like is magnetic and electromagnetic. So it's when you play the guitar, it's an electromagnetic pickup, and when you're speaking to a microphone, and even the speaker. These are things that have to pass through a magnetic entity to exist. So I started thinking about this magnetic entity, and I really like this concept of Magnetica. That's why I stumbled on the name, and I think also there's like a nice mystery I like behind the name of Magnetica as well. So, and also with the sign on the cover we had an artist called Patrick Martinez make a sign, and there's Brian was trying to find a place to photograph the sign, and was driving down the coast of San Diego with the sign in the back of his car, and came across the beach and was like, we'll put it on the beach, let's see. And so it's like kind of very mysterious, like why is this sign in the middle of nowhere stood on the seaside? So. Yeah, I mean, with Alice, I started making music with Alice in my early 20s. We both had moved to Brighton. She's from the country, like from Suffolk. I'm from the country in Worcestershire. So we kind of always connected. And actually, at the start, we were writing music by post. And I would send her things on a mini disc, and she would send them back. And it was kind of this mystery with her, which I really liked. And then we met in Brighton, and we just started playing a lot together. And I had my band, the Quantic Soul Orchestra, there, and she sang with the band. And yeah, I guess we recorded a few things over the years, and it's always important. Like we always check in with each other, and she's like an old friend, really like family now. So when you travel a lot with people, you get really close to them. And I guess it was important to have her on the record. I really love Alice's style. I feel it's very unique. She's got like a very particular tone, and there's not really anyone I know who can sing that way. Like it sounds like her and only her for me. So yeah, it was great to have her on there, and I hope to continue working with her, and I think we're going to try and do some recordings this coming year, try and do a new record together. I would love to be based or do something out of Jamaica. I don't know if I'd need to move there, but I would, a residency for a month or something in Jamaica or in Trinidad or Barbados would not be bad. It wouldn't be a bad thing at all. But I think, especially more and more I'm getting into the Jamaican sound and really admiring what was being done. Even, today, there's just Jamaicans are crazy talented. Like they're really very musical nation. And I think that I worked with Shinehead on this new record, and just like the every second there would be new ideas and new things. It was just everything. Every time I press record, it would be a different idea and fantastic. Well, it doesn't know, because it's if I felt that it was a fault of mine, I think I would feel sad. But the thing is that it's kind of endemic of the state of the industry in Colombia. The most interesting musicians that I work with in Colombia don't have their records in a record store. They're not like a national record store. There's maybe One Tower Records or something like that, but it's very hard to pick up music. There's one store in the airport. There's a few like librerias that sell like books, and they also sell CDs, but they're not interested in stocking like independent music. So it's very hard point for the industry. So the way, all my friends produce records there is they'll, make 500 CDs and they'll just sell them from from a suitcase at the end of their show. So, I've offered many a time to record labels and spoken to different labels and say, hey, look, I've got the rights for Colombia for my music. If you want the music, it's here. And I just don't think, I think now slowly it's becoming a little bit more open. Colombia has become more open to this kind of music, but I think at the start when I was living there, it was not really a reality. It wasn't, people weren't interested. Yeah, so this is, I've been traveling with like larger groups over the last few years, like 9 people, 10 people. With On the Tropica, it was 12 at one point. And yeah, it's a little bit hectic sometimes with a lot of people, but I really enjoy that. With this project, it's going to be a smaller band, like 4 or 5 people. It's more electronic, so I have more looping and kind of live electronic things on stage. And because it's also very varied and there's a lot of like additional instruments and string sections and things like that, it's easier to do that with samplers and laptop. And actually it's a pretty interesting, like I've been working with Ableton Live and particularly with the people from Ableton Live, they've been showing me how to use the software and experiment with different techniques. And yeah, I feel like it's an interesting time to combine electronic music. And it's cool because a lot of the time when I have this weird paradox where it's like sometimes I play with a band in like a live venue, and then sometimes I play as a DJ in a club, but like the two worlds often don't meet. So to have these two worlds meeting is nice, to be in like more of a club environment with a band and play like music that's quite like good for the dance floor, but at the same time you can go anywhere and it could be 2 minutes or it could be 10 minutes and it can change and you can have this flexibility and vibe. That's really cool. Yeah.
Nova, le grand mix.